Hello everyone and welcome back to the Aether Hub, the largest source of MTG lore on YouTube. So as we continue our fireside discussions on MTG, lots of questions seemingly pop out of nowhere. Characters and worlds appear more connected than we first think, and with a little digging we find a gaping chasm of information to explore at every turn. This is true even with new and non-mainstream characters, which is the topic of today's discussions. We're going underground and punky with some new Planeswalkers appearing in War of the Spark. So today's focus isn't on a brand new Planeswalker like Mr. Geometry Hands here. We just don't have enough information yet to guess on who this possibly could be. They're brand spanking new, but we will focus on a Planeswalker that we've yet to see in a set and that many of the less lore inclined probably don't even know about. And that's understandable because we've only seen this guy referenced once in a novella written by Brandon Sanderson, and that was in Children of the Nameless. And before we go any further, this video will contain some spoilers, so go ahead and read that and then come back. Okay, you done? Let's begin. So, the stained glass window here, it belongs to a little known Planeswalker by the name of Davriel Cane, who I'll be calling Cane from now on because, well, I'm terrible with names. He was one of the main characters and sort of the antagonist in Children of the Nameless, a Planeswalker with a lot of secrets and intrigue about them. I don't want to be completely bogged down in the story here, so please go read the novella because that was an actually killer reference. But still, we have to understand his backstory a little bit so we can see how he's going to bring himself into the War of the Spark. So Kane's story begins on the plane of Innistrad, and remember this is post-Emrakul Eldritch Moon era, so Avacyn's dead, things are creepy still, the moon has Nissa's seal on it, things are weird, but what hasn't changed is that monsters feed on the innocent citizenry, thus is what's happening in this small, far-flung village. The village has a secret weapon though, a pair of twin girls who have some little known powers. Mostly they're just blind, but during the day, for one at least, and night for the other, they get some unique abilities. The main character of this novella, and hero sort of, is a girl by the name of Tassandra. She was the night side of the twin sisters. She was blind during the day, but at night, she had powers to conjure powerful wards and barriers with a song, protecting her village from all sorts of creepy monsters. So as things go, one night the young girl's spell fails, and her village is slaughtered, and she embarks on a journey for justice, claiming someone prevented her spell from being actually used that night. She blames a strange man known as the Lord of the Manor, an estate just outside the village limits. He's secretive and aloof, but often is seen summoning or cohorting with demons, so seems like a very good suspect. This turned out to be the Planeswalker Cane, who is kinda mean, but also really lazy. In fact, it's noted all over the place that he would actively be more cruel and monstrous if it wasn't for his profound laziness. That goes to his personality a little bit. He doesn't care much for others, and his past is shrouded in mystery. To sort of wrap up the story, they team up and find an imposter, but in doing so, discover what is known as entities. And this would be a huge factor in their story and the story moving forward in War of the Spark. But what exactly are entities? Well, remember when Nissa had the elfy ability to talk to the souls of planes? She talked to Zendikar, I believe, and for sure Amonkhet. Worlds in MTG are very similar to those in World of Warcraft if you're an alternator like me and like both of the universes. Anyway, the idea here is that planets, or planes in this case, have a consciousness. And that's not new. People talked about the soul of Dominaria, the goddess Gaia, and so on, but in this story with Cane, it's taken to a whole different level. So with planes being able to feel the pain of the living creatures and create avatars of their own, we learned that when a plane is destroyed, the plane's world soul can become what is known as an entity. It's like a ghost, a formless, shapeless essence of pure power that was once a consciousness of a plane. Apparently, the entity of a lost plane fused itself to the mind of Davriel Cane, and that's the basis of the entire Children of the Nameless story. So what do entities do when they fuse with a mortal? Well, what could Davriel Cane do beforehand? It's unclear if he was or was not a Planeswalker before the entity came to him, but he definitely was after. Not only that, a secret group of hunters are now chasing him for this entity. Supposedly also Planeswalkers, because they chase him throughout the entire multiverse before he hides out on Innistrad. Outside of that, his main magical attribute is his ability to steal spells from other wizards and use them himself for a short amount of time. So he can literally pluck the spell from the minds of others and use them whenever he wants. Now, typically he can only hold a spell for a few days or maybe hours, and it gets weaker over time. But with this entity, when he uses it, he can hold people's spells basically forever, essentially making him a walking arsenal of powerful magic. We don't know a whole lot about the world soul he possesses, but that it talks to him and tempts him with power, sort of like the Raven Man does with Liliana Vess, which leads me to believe that the Raven Man might actually be a world soul of some kind. Maybe the world soul of some planet that was tied to or destroyed by the Chain Veil, but that's another discussion for another video. So, he has this voice pestering him to use his untold power, but the only time he did, he killed 2 entire armies, and he didn't very much like that, and he hasn't used it since. Again, Cane just isn't out and out evil, he's just weird. At the end of Children of the Nameless, it's discovered that another entity had been tied itself to this bog on Innistrad, thus my reference earlier, so you read the book. Then, the 2 twin sisters, Tassandra, she kills her evil twin, classic, and gets the entire bog entity for herself. She's no longer blind, super powerful, but she vanishes from Innistrad. This entity made her a Planeswalker. This is major news, and something that hasn't really been tested in modern Magic storytelling. The idea that a force can turn people into powerful mages, even Planeswalkers, and that it can be transferred from one person to another. I mean, it's right out of the Mirrodin block with Memnarch trying to farm a spark, but this means that Ravnica too has a soul, and that soul is super powerful. Maybe this is what Nicol Bolas is trying to get to regain his godlike powers. So Davriel Cane opens a huge new avenue here for the story of MTG. Planeless entities, world souls without worlds, it can make new powerful Planeswalkers. Davriel is an example of that and will participate in the War of the Spark. Bolas is looking for a way to gain more power. Maybe this isn't through stealing the sparks of others, but fracturing the world of Ravnica itself and obtaining this world soul. With the Planeswalkers, they're serving kind of as the catalyst, the war that would break the world apart. This is actually sounding more and more like something that's really plausible, but I'll put it in another video. We'll end this one with just a note saying that Davriel Cane, this new black-blue Planeswalker, is someone with an interesting personality and ability, but he brings with him something much deeper and impactful that will likely shape the MTG lore in ways that we can't really comprehend just yet. And Davriel's just too damn lazy to even care. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for today's discussion. The mysterious new Planeswalker Davriel Cane and this world-shattering World Soul Spark thing. Are you a fan of Cane? How do you think this entity could be used in future stories? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video and want to support the channel, make sure you throw this video a like, subscribe, hit the bell, and of course, share it with your friends. I can't stress how helpful a share on Reddit goes, guys. I mean, more than you guys could ever think. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can get Aether bundles, themed signed mythics, and rares every month. Last month was Simic, this month, maybe Gruul? I'm not sure. Let me know your suggestions and I can get you as much as possible. And you can always get way more when you join the Vorthos army. Just make sure you check that link in the description below to see all the great benefits. As always guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time here on the Aether Hub. See ya!